Considering that some of the biggest open-world games like Grand Theft Auto 6 and Assassin's Creed Shadows are out next year, it's impressive to see the sheer variety that 2024 has offered. We've seen massive landscapes and environments rendered in startling detail, and impressive semi-open world maps that delivered extensive content despite the smaller scale. Check out our picks for the 20 best open world and semi-open world games of the year. Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl. Measuring over 60 square kilometers, the zone in Stalker 2 is bigger than any previous entries. It's not just about the scale, all the events, quests, anomalies, and enemies you can uncover, but more about venturing into the unknown and surviving whatever it throws at you. Perhaps that could be an encounter with the new Bayan mutant, which entraps unwitting people by mimicking other stalkers, or a firefight during rough weather while low on supplies. That spontaneity, coupled with how extensive the zone and its residents are, makes for a unique experience each time. Microsoft's Flight Simulator 2024. Asobo Studios' digital twin is propagated by so much, from marine and wildlife to many more trees, airports, buildings, air traffic, and so on. It's almost absurd to see it all brought to life like this, especially with how gorgeous it all looks. Day 1 server issues notwithstanding. But Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 offers so much more on top. Career mode is a massive improvement over the previous game with its certifications, mission types, and extensive content. At the same time, the new aircraft system, flight planner, and the ability to step outside your plane for pre-flight checks or admire the surrounding biome add so much more to the immersion. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Considering how Remake played, it was shocking to see Final Fantasy VII Rebirth adopt such a massive open scale for its regions. New towns and characters, side quests, and minigames dotting the landscape, different chocobo types to aid in getting around, and hidden threats lay in wait. Combat has also seen its leaps and bounds, which makes these encounters all the more compelling. But even just exploring the world alongside your companions is a joy. Dragon's Dogma 2. Over 4 times larger than the first game's map, Dragon's Dogma 2 is an experience that tries to subvert your average open-world expectations. Everyone can die, making them or those wake stones you're carrying around more valuable. Fast travel isn't readily available. Encounters can range from fights against wolves to harpies lifting you up off the ground to who knows where. Fights can even spill over into the towns, causing some townsfolk to die. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Machine Games has showcased and discussed a lot of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, from its cinematic approach to the sheer hours of cutscenes, but its world design has caught us by surprise. Taking more of a semi-open world approach, it features massive levels teeming with activities, alongside portions inaccessible until you revisit with new abilities. Then you have the sheer number of additional content, like field missions, with their own stories and mysteries that emphasize puzzle solving, artifacts to collect, and much more. Of course, the environments look incredible with stunning attention to detail. Many players may be one and done with the story, however, those who take their time will discover an extensive amount of great content. Satisfactory. I've said a lot about how good it feels to play Satisfactory, to optimize its efficiency and develop a well-oiled machine that slowly expands into something extraordinary. However, the different handcrafted environments are also surprisingly fun to explore. From caves teeming with unknown resources to massive lakes and hazardous areas, there's something valuable around almost every corner. Of course, watching the wildlife just casually walking around, those that aren't trying to kill you, is also a treat, as you work out how to exploit everything to grow the factory. Once Human. Story Studios' Once Human shot to popularity at launch with its generous monetization, blending of looter-shooter and survival sandbox mechanics and unique setting, with all manner of horrifying monstrosities. The map has since expanded with new regions. The most recent ones include Onyx Tundra, Vena Fjord, and Ember Strand, packing tons of new quests and even a temperature mechanic that will wear down your character without sufficient protection. There are also new threats like the Towering Chaos Weavers, new deviations to collect, and much more. Your mileage may vary when it comes to the narrative and questing, but Once Human's world is worth checking out firsthand. Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erdtree. From Software received extensive praise for Elden Ring's world design, but seeing the team replicate that magic and introduce even more memorable moments on a smaller map has been fascinating. Much of this is due to how much more vertical the Land of Shadow is. While it's easy to get lost in places, there are also moments like the winding path to Karo's hidden grave and eventually Jagged Peak, or braving the Abyssal Woods to discover Midra's Manse. Coupled with incredible bosses, exceptional rewards, and challenging enemies, and Shadow of the Erdtree goes toe-to-toe with the base game's quality. Wuthering Waves. The dialogue and story of Wuthering Waves still leave me feeling a bit mixed, but the world design continues to impress. Huanglong was already impressive at launch with its variety, side activities, and outstanding bosses. But things got even better with Mount Firmament and more recently with the Black Shores. The art design coupled with traversal abilities like grappling and wall running make for a fun journey backed by stellar combat. Throne and Liberty. Finally debuting outside of South Korea, Throne and Liberty may be a hard sell if you're not into MMORPGs, especially given the focus on guilds. Nevertheless, the world is full of things to do, from castle sieges, conquests, and even PvEvP dungeons. Coupled with a different take on traversal, transforming into animals, and the range of locales with an appealing art style, Throne and Liberty is worth a try, especially since it's free. Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade initially consists of linear levels, and it's very much about exploring the environment, taking out enemies and unlocking the way forward, usually to a boss. However, there are also open-world style environments like the Wasteland and the Great Desert, which offer much more freeform exploration, and though you could rush through to continue the story, they offer much to collect from drone modules to body cores. Lightyear Frontier. Farming plus mechs is a good way to describe Framebreak's title, which doesn't have tons to offer in early access. Nevertheless, the world design and overall gameplay loop can make for a relaxing and surprisingly polished affair. The goal is to cleanse environments, explore ruins to mysterious artifacts, and grow your farm to unlock new upgrades. Pretty straightforward, though mech customization, including an upcoming new tractor mode, material orders, and decorations offer a bit more on top. Expeditions, a Mudrunner game. While Expeditions, a Mudrunner game, offers the same realistic gameplay as its predecessors, the focus is now on traversing and uncovering massive environments. Not only do you get various tools to scope out the terrain, but have to carefully navigate through it all, from cliffs to rivers, and fulfill different objectives. It's a different challenge, especially for those who love off-road racing, and overcoming nature to further the expedition feels rewarding. Black Myth Wukong. Game Science was adamant before launch that Black Myth Wukong isn't an open-world game, and it's correct, especially in the beginning when you're getting a feel for the combat. However, it opens up from Chapter 2 onwards with side quests to undertake and many more secret areas to discover. Purple Cloud Mountain is but one example. It opens up into what's almost a brand new region with multiple bosses to defeat. For what is essentially a linear action RPG, there is much to discover. Dragon Age: The Veilguard. I'm not a big fan of mission design for much of the Veilguard since they often feel too straightforward or devolve into following a character. And while the regions themselves are nothing too crazy in terms of scale, their freeform exploration feels a lot more enjoyable. The puzzles aren't nearly as mind-numbingly easy, though still a ways from challenging. There are some interesting stories and side quests to delve into, and they look stunning. It's an intriguing antithesis to Inquisition and makes me wonder what could have been had BioWare taken the best of both, but regardless, Veilguard's areas offer some of a much-needed break from the story. Enshrouded. Survival crafting fans were spoiled this year when it came to choice, and among the various options, Keen Games' Enshrouded is worth noting. The base building and material gathering are a core part of the gameplay loop, but combat and a flexible style are just as important. However, it's the world that draws you in with its unique dungeons, shrouded areas, caverns, and more. There's an absurd amount available, and it's still in early access. Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth. The Like a Dragon series has always felt more semi-open, especially when rushing through locations like Kamurocho Ocho in the earlier Yakuza games. However, Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth dwarfs them all in sheer scale with Honolulu. The varying districts all feel unique and pretty much unlike previous titles, but they feature all the hallmarks from play sports like karaoke and arcade games to crazy delivery, Sujimon and Dondoko Island. There are plenty of wacky characters to meet, and the combat-minded have challenges like Keepers of the City and randomized dungeons to clear. Banishers Ghosts of New Eden. The world of Banishers offers a collection of interconnected regions to explore with a unique atmosphere befitting its morose story and tone. Granted, there's a bit too much backtracking between quests and objectives, but undertaking a quest and investigating the world, encountering the various horrors that lie in wait, is intriguing. The choices that define them and your overall direction also make for some emotional moments. Pal World. The most successful survival crafting game of the year. Pal World is vastly improved in terms of base building, combat, and general quality of life. The world was already pretty fun to explore, at least as far as early access goes, but having a brand new region like Sakurajima, more pals to collect, raid bosses, and more to indulge in has helped to elevate the experience. There's still a ways to go, but thus far, Pal World is nailing the open world 3D creature collecting gameplay loop. Infinity Nikki. Open world gacha games are expensive business, so it's all the more impressive when a game like Infinity Nikki doesn't go with the usual action RPG approach and sticks to its roots. As unusual as a dress-up adventure sounds, Infinity Nikki delivers a gorgeous open world to explore with lots of different activities, ranging from platforming to light combat. The ultimate goal is a more laid-back experience that delivers pretty well while offering exceptional production values. Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.